from a town where most of the people are so close-minded. They go into school and they work in a job, but they don't even like it. I won't be put in a box. Nobody telling me what I should rock. Nobody telling me what I should drop, cause I do what I want and just know I don't stop.
Hey guys, what's going on? This video is on the topic of Facebook and social media in general, but it's going to be more focused on Facebook itself. So I've had a long and complicated history with Facebook. It's sort of a love-hate relationship that I have with it. There's some things that I really like about it, and there's some things that I absolutely do not like about it. And first of all, I will say that Facebook is a great way to plan events and have people come together. And it's also a really good way to promote causes and things like that, like creating pages. I do have a couple pages that I'm running right now. One is promoting bringing back the Sliders TV show, and that's doing very well. Another one is having Hugh Jackman as Wolverine return to the Avengers. That one's also doing very well. And I have a couple others as well, along with my channel YouTube page that I promote. So those are definitely some positive things, and also keeping in touch with people that live far away from you that you can't phone. But with that being said, what is Facebook? Well, Facebook is a tool that you can use to connect to people and to connect to resources and news and links and that sort of thing. Ultimately, what is it that you want to get out of Facebook? And you want to get out, I would say the number one reason is connections with people. And over the years, since the first time I created my own Facebook page till up to now, I've gone through a really long journey of what exactly Facebook means to me. And Facebook doesn't really mean a whole lot to me now. And the number one reason for that is because the whole point of having Facebook to connect with people doesn't seem to work for me. And I would say since the beginning, I maybe have a close connection to overall about 1% of the friends that I have on Facebook. And we'll get to that in a moment, what Facebook friends really are. Facebook has definitely been an emotional journey for me because of my past and struggling to make connections with people, especially since from the beginning if you had watched my YouTube video, Life in Ruins, How to Heal from Bullying, I go into basically a overview of my life. Because of numerous reasons, I've had a hard time connecting with people. And I thought Facebook would be a great opportunity for me to make connections with people and to get to know people and to set up social events or being able to get access to social events. And it's been a rough ride because what I was promised didn't really happen. So there seemed to be this trend where I'd have people adding me on Facebook, but then they wouldn't talk to me or would be unavailable. And I went through a process where I would contact them and leave messages, and sometimes there'd be no answer. Other times I would get sort of one-word responses. And then they finally brought in the scene feature where it shows that the person had seen your message. And then I got a lot of, they had seen the message but chose not to respond. So I had a whole bunch of these people adding me on Facebook, and they weren't responding to my messages. They had seen the message but chose not to respond. And this is just messages like, you know, hey, how you doing? How's your day? You know, that sort of thing. Or if it's school, I'd be like, you know, how's everything going with that? And nothing. And it became quite depressing, and that's, you know, and then I started reading articles that Facebook can lead to depression, and you basically get your hopes up, and because you're looking for social connection, and you're not, and some people don't get that. Perhaps people that are very popular have their Facebook feed flooded with stuff, flooded with likes and comments and attention and things like that. But we'll get into that in a moment. But I would find myself having these people coming onto my Facebook. You know, they would add me, or I would add them. Later on, I made a habit of just letting people add me because I didn't know who, you know, I didn't know who was going to connect with me or not. I figured they're going to add me on Facebook, they're probably going to connect with me. Wrong. Yeah, that's definitely not the case. So then I figured, well, why are they adding me on Facebook if they're not going to speak to me? And I did confront a few people about it, and that either led to them deleting me on Facebook or just ignoring me in general. And it was just very confusing, and, you know, why are these people adding me but not talking to me? And I figured, well, is it to help their ego? You know, is it to make them look good on their Facebook? Oh, they got a ton of friends on there. And I mean, some people have like 500 friends and even more than that. And, well, friends. You know, and then later on, you know, studies come out about Facebook that on average, you know, that the average person only talks to about, you know, 1 to 5% of the people on their Facebook page. So what does that mean? Well, that means that ultimately Facebook is not really, for some people, Facebook is not what it's meant to be. And so a lot of people seem to use it for their ego and to promote their image. And if they have more friends, then they look better, right? The other thing too is that they may add you out of politeness. Perhaps you're a coworker, or you're a student, or you're a classmate, and they add you so you don't feel left out. But in the end, you end up feeling left out because they don't connect with you, and you get misled, more or less. And that's happened to me with both school and work. And I really found out in a hard way of who was really interested in connecting with me and who's not. So I ended up, over the years, I deleted Facebook, I made a new account, and I did it for a number of reasons. One was to remove the stigma of Facebook, because over the years, Facebook has sometimes left me feeling, you know, with having a bad taste in my mouth, more or less, and wanting to get away from Facebook and wanting to start anew. So I've done that, and then I ended up, a few times I would delete a whole pile of people that don't talk to me, or for whatever reason is unavailable to speak to me, but yet is very active with other people. I delete them, and I try to get my Facebook down to a small number of people that I connect with. And eventually, you know, it always ends up that there's a bunch of people on there that either stop connecting with me or I don't connect with at all. And ultimately, I just want Facebook to be something that's for people that I have a close connection with, people that I talk to regularly, or close friends. It's not for promoting other people's images or their ego, or just adding in people that think they're doing a nice thing but they're not. And I'm not, I don't. One thing's a huge trigger for me is fake people, and I've seen them my whole life. They're everywhere. They're everywhere, and I don't want them on my Facebook. And I have had them on my Facebook, and I don't want them on my Facebook. And I came to the conclusion that, and I wrote a blurb about this on my Facebook, is that if you don't want to be my friend, or make that connection, or build a friendship with me, then you have to leave my Facebook. Because that's what I want. That's what I want to happen. That's what I wanted. That is what I wanted to happen. Recently, I went through a depression, and a lot of things were getting me down. Facebook is just one part of a multitude of things that were getting me down at the time. And I decided that I couldn't be on Facebook. Now I do occasionally drop in to check my pages and any messages that I get, because I do get some messages from a couple people, and I will admit that there are some times that I get distracted and I don't get back to people. It doesn't happen very often, but there are times where that does happen. I do my best to get back to people when I can. Now that I'm not really using Facebook, it's a little bit more distracting for me to continuously check on things on Facebook, because Facebook is no longer my regular form of communication, although some people choose to use it that way. And ultimately, my phone, I choose, that is my regular form of communication. But even then, I don't use it a whole lot, other than for work or whenever, And it sometimes I even think, is it even worth having a cell phone? And personally, I don't like cell phones. I do agree that texting can be convenient at times, but ultimately, it's just not a very good form of communication. What are Facebook friends? Ultimately, you decide what a Facebook friend is. So, if a Facebook friend to you is having a colleague sit on your Facebook profile for eternity without talking to them, then that's what they are to you. If a Facebook friend is somebody who you talk to regularly, who's a close friend, then that's what a Facebook friend is to you. Ultimately, you do not make friends on Facebook. You cannot develop proper friendships or relationships over Facebook or social media in general. You can develop certain elements of it, or build certain elements of a foundation of a friendship or relationship, but it will not develop into a pure, genuine relationship. I can tell you that. You cannot develop a friendship unless you meet somebody in person and talk to them in person. That's the only way you're going to develop a friendship. You can't over Facebook. Another thing, too, is posting things. So I used to post a lot of political stuff on Facebook, and just issues that I thought were important. Well, it turns out that I'm pretty well the only person that feels they're important, and not many other people really do. And that led to, that added to my depression, that, nobody really cares about what I post on there. And not only that, but they don't care about the issues that I talk about. And so it just gets redundant after a while that you're posting stuff and nobody cares about it. And ultimately, I wanted to spark conversation with people. I wanted to get that information out there to talk about it. And nobody wanted to talk about it. I had people deleting me off Facebook because of it. Now, there are some people who do very well with it, and there are a couple people that I know on Facebook that are able to post things regularly that get a lot of attention. It helps that most of the people on their Facebook are very aware of these issues and are open or want to talk about these issues. And that helps a lot. When you're surrounded by people that don't want to talk about issues, or are unaware, or are just look through the world through a narrow lens, or simply don't agree with you, you're not going to get much of a response, or you're going to get negative response. I have on occasion commented on other people's Facebook pages, certain posts that they make, whether I agree or disagree. And there was this one time where someone had posted a news article about, in Saudi Arabia, women are now allowed to drive, and some prince in Saudi Arabia is allowing women to drive. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. And this person made out like it was a wonderful thing, and, it's a good thing that women can drive in Saudi Arabia, but ultimately, just listen to the title of the article. Saudi prince allows women to drive. Like, how arrogant is such a thing? Is for this prince to allow women to drive? And I took issue with that, and I said, well, hey, this is fine, but women's rights, women are abused in that country. They don't have really any rights, and the country is a dictatorship, and there's so many human abuses that go on in Saudi Arabia, and that is the real issue. It's not that women can drive. The real issue is that women are highly abused in Saudi Arabia, and they have really no autonomy. And that was the issue I took, and I explained that, and I basically said that a lot of people stick their head in the sand about this issue, and that is the real issue. Anyway, I got a negative response to it. People didn't like what I had to say, and that I was told that I was arrogant, and they didn't like my response to the article. And that's the sort of thing that I have to deal with certain people, is that, and I mean, that's going into a whole different story about politically, or I guess you could say social issues and awareness in general. In my opinion, Facebook is very superficial. It really has no real significance to building relationships, and it can be a very fake place. And I'm a person who needs to be around people. I need to build deep relationships with people, and Facebook doesn't do it for me. Whenever I stay off Facebook, I feel much better. Like, I actually feel great when I'm not using Facebook. And then when I go onto Facebook, I suddenly feel depressed. Because, I never got this response, this person didn't get back to me. Nobody cares about what I post, and all those things come back to me whenever I go back onto Facebook. That, here's some people on here that don't give a fuck about me. So, with the exception of a few, there are some people on there that I do connect with. And especially with some people that live across the world from me, that I have very good connections with. And those people, I have a lot of respect for, and I call them friends, because they have made a strong effort to connect with me. So, with the exception of them, Facebook is something that I don't want in my life. And there's only, like I said, there's only a couple things that's bringing me back to Facebook. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't want Facebook, and if there's another way to connect with these people, I would. But for now, instead of deleting it, which I thought about just getting rid of Facebook altogether, and I thought, well, I have a few very positive aspects that I enjoy about Facebook, so I'm going to keep it and just not use it that much. So one other thing that I want to talk about is people making their feelings known on Facebook and trying to reach out to people, I guess you could say either desperately or having human needs and needing to reach out. And often these people do this, they get two responses. Either they get no response, or they get a flooding of responses, depending on what it is. If if you're going to talk about an illness, or you're going to talk about death in the family, or something like that, you're going to get a basic general reaction of sympathy. Although I would guess that most of these people didn't really play a strong role in your life before that, and probably wouldn't have even commented on your post unless you posted, such and such passed away. Suddenly they're interested. So, and I think they do that out of social obligation rather than actually caring about you in general. I think that a lot of people that post things about their feelings on Facebook get severely disappointed. And I know I used to be one of those people. And that's because they don't really care. Because you haven't made those connections with those people. And you don't have the connections. So unless you have those connections, then they're going to say something or contribute. But if you're looking to have Facebook be your counselor, it's not worth the pain to have that rejection, because you've already dealt with rejection in your life. At least some of us have, and Facebook is full of rejection. So it's not something that you can rely on about that. Personally, I don't feel that Facebook is the right avenue to be posting personal things in that nature. I think that people that you're close to are the best option. Now, if you have no one to turn to, then sure. If you need to bring attention in that way, go for it. If you can have an opportunity to make some kind of human connection on Facebook, please try it. I wish that Facebook was full of human connection in that way. So guys, what's your stories about Facebook? Is Facebook doing something positive for you? Is it something that it's been very negative for you? How about those who don't have Facebook? And why don't you have Facebook? Please post in the comments below. Let me know your experiences. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you check out some more of my videos. Keep it locked on the Andrew K channel.
From a town where most of the people are so close-minded. They go into school and they work in a job, but they don't even like it. I won't be put in a box. Nobody telling me what I should rock. Nobody telling me what I should drop, cause I do what I want and just know I don't stop.